What is this? What is this? What is this? These little tiny things and little columns and rows and wow! All the planets are there for you. The planets are there. Wow. Calendar. Who knew? Not to be confused with colander, colander, or colander. Because Colander is a small town. Colander is Zabash that you just drain things with. And this one is the same one, but colander is called don't go colander. Oh, a colander is a series of hard pressure rollers used to finish or smooth a sheet of material such as paper, textiles, or plastics. Or sometimes bakeries use something like this for the dough. No? Oh. So, a calendar is a system of organizing days for social, religious, commercial, or administrative purposes. Who knew? So sometimes, I mean, to them, oh, well, religious, spiritual, whoa, interchangeable, right? Just to whatever is more convenient. This is done by giving names to periods of time, typically days, weeks, months, and years. A date is a designation of a single specific day within such a system. Hmm. A calendar is also a physical record, often paper, of such a system. A calendar can also mean a list of planned events. No, couldn't be. Such as a court calendar, or a partly or fully chronological list of documents, such as a calendar of wills. Or a map. So it's a map. It's a map that has pre planned events on it. Who knew? But somehow you're just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and just all of them. All of them. Right to you day in, day out. Whoa, now it's the next one and the next one. And I'll have you penciled in next week for that. And I'll have you planned for the next year, this and 5 years down and down. Wow, for plans for 2020. Yeah, we have to have goals, right, people? What a shame. What a shame. I mean, what's going on? Wow. Who knows? But periods in a calendar, such as years and months, are usually, though not necessarily, synchronized with the cycle of the sun or the moon. Really? Though not necessarily, right? What calendar is not based on the sun or the moon? And you'll say, oh, the quantum clock, it just goes into bash. Who knows how many milli bash trilogy? It's so precise. It doesn't need the moon or the sun. It just counts. It just counts relentlessly. It's so precise. Right? Is that it? What's going on? All of the calendars have used the sun or the moon. The stars, the little things in the sky. The lights in the sky. Who knew? Amazing. But no, it had to be just not necessarily. Right? They forgot Saturn here. That's why they say not necessarily, because others are based on Saturn worship. Who knew? The most common type of pre-modern calendar was the lunisolar calendar. Oh, a lunar calendar that occasionally adds one intercalary month to remain synchronized with the solar year over the long term. So superimpose and cut here, snip there, and just put the fit. Amazing. Just nip tucked and just give it a facelift relentlessly. Amazing. Just like leap year, 365, and then one of it's 366. Who knew? Every 4 years or a bash or this and this. Wow, which is amazing. Who knew? Whoa! And those bash. Amazing. So calendar, amazing. Who knew? Who knew it was April Fools and this and that and this? Oh. The term calendar is taken from calendar, the term for the first day of the month in the Roman calendar. Oh, of course, the Romans. Related to the verb calare, to call out, referring to the calling of the new moon when it was first seen. Wow, who knew? What is the Sabbath? Exactly, you have no clue. But you're like, oh, the Romans knew, and of course they knew when the new moon was because they knew what they were counting. Latin calendarium meant account book register, as accounts were settled and debts were collected on calendars of each month. The Latin term was adopted in Old French as calendia, and from there in the Middle English as calendar. By the 13th century, the spelling calendar is early modern. A calendar can be on paper or electronic device. Who knew? History. Wow, the solar calendar is lunar, lunisolar. Wow. The Gregorian, the religious, the national, and fiscal calendars. Whoa! And now you can just synchronize them all, make them so compatible with calendar software. Yes. Just hook up online and you're all good, buddy. Y2K is over. No more fear of instant crashes, no worry. Except the EMP from the sun, but don't worry. We have relentless shields. Captain America just relentlessly shields us from it. Yes. Amazing. Right, some Flash Iron Age, to Bronze Age. Oh, timekeeping. Whoa. Who knew? But who knew what are you keeping, right? Records of what? Wow, who knew? Not we don't know, but wow, because day in, day out, wow, what happens? Wow. Hmm. You have no clue. The large number of ancient Near East calendar systems based on the Babylonian calendar. Wow, who knew? Among them, calendars, systems of Persian Empire. Who knew? Right. So, who knew that it's at Sumer? Right. They had everything. Well, apparently the gods from the sky gave them all the wisdom of the ways of the world and how to count and keep time and this and all the mystery teachings. Wow, just all of them, bash, given to them. Amazing. Yes, the fallen angels were harder work. Who knew? Amazing. Just amazingly, just smashing. Wow, who knew? Because we allowed subversion. We allowed the doubt to split us. A great number of Hellenic calendars developed in classical Greece. Wow, amazing. Wow, the Roman calendar was reformed by Julius Caesar, 45 BC. The Julian calendar was no longer dependent on the observation of the new moon, but simply followed an algorithm of introducing a leap day every 4 years. Wow, exactly! Who knew, who knew, who knew, who knew, who knew, who knew? This created dissociation of the calendar month from the lunation. Wow, who knew? We went full sun worship. Full sun worship. Right? Instead of, wow, the sun marked the day and the moon the night. Wow. So instead of just, blah, 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 no, now it's full sun. Let's blast our way through the sun because the moon is somehow eating us and this and that and this and wow. Smashed. The Islamic calendar, based on the moon, is based on the prohibition of intercalation. Calation, wow. By Muhammad in Islamic tradition dated to a sermon held on the ninth Dhul-Hijjah. This resulted in an observation based lunar calendar that shifts relative to the seasons of the solar year. Observation based lunar calendar, but it's aware of the solar shape shiftingness. Wow, who knew? Wow. So you're governed by the calendar, right? You're told what it is, what it is that you're living, what you should pencil yourself in, what you're working towards, because it's just planned out for you. Wow, who knew? A full calendar system. What is this, Bash? Oh, modern reforms. Oh, the first calendar reform of the early modern era was the Gregorian calendar introduced in 1582, based on the observation of a long term shift between the Julian calendar and the solar year. Whoa. There have been a number of modern proposals for reform of the calendar, such as the World Calendar, International Fixed Calendar, Holocene, Holocene Calendar, and recently the Hank Henry Permanent Calendar. Of course, just so solid. Just Hank Henry, right? Two first names, amazing. Such ideas are mooted from time to time, but have failed to gain traction because of the loss of community continuity. Massive upheaval in implementation and religious objections. Sure. Calendar systems, bosh, bosh, bosh. A calendar system has a different calendar date for every day. Wow. Thus, the week cycle by itself is not a full calendar system. Neither is a system to name the days within a year without a system for identifying the years. So it's just some wheel in the wheel smashing the other wheel, bash, 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 bash. The simplest calendar system just counts time periods from a reference date. This applies for the Julian day or Unix time. Unix time is a system for describing a point in time, right? Time and place. It is the number of seconds that have elapsed since blah 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 Thursday 1st, 1970. Whoa. UTC. Every day is treated as if it contains exactly 8,600, no, 86,400 seconds. So leap seconds are to be subtracted since blah blah bash. Who knew? The simplest calendar system just counts time periods and reference date. This applies to that, blah blah. Virtually the only possible variation is using a different reference date, in particular, one less distant in the past, to make the numbers smaller. Computations in these systems are just a matter of addition and subtraction. Aw. Other calendars have one or multiple larger units of time. Oh, right, depending on their orbit around the sun, shouldn't it be? Well, no. Who knew? Oh, I don't know. Week and weekday. Bash calendars with two levels of cycles. What about the Mayan calendar, right? They didn't have like six. Wow, so who knew? Three had three calendars. Wow, amazing. Wow. Three cycles. Cycles can be synchronized with periodic phenomena, lunar calendars, solar calendars, lunar calendars, blah, 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 the week, right? Wow, dude. But so exactly calendars. But I mean, what do you know the signs? You know the seasons. Wow. But no, instead you worship some calendar. Wow, amazing. Amazing. Solar calendar is assigned a solar day. Blah blah blah. Sunrise, sunset, fall night. Blah. The length of interval between two such successive events may be allowed to vary slightly during the year, where it may be averaged into a mean solar day. Lunar calendars. Wow, look at all this bash, the phases. Wow, waiting, waxing. Wow, who knew? Wow, tropical year. And the tides of the Islamic calendar is based on the moon. Wow. Similarly, Michael believes that marks on 50,000-year-old cave paintings represent a lunar calendar going all the way 50,000, 15,000. I got 15K on it. You good? Amazing. Okay, then you have subdivisions, you know, derivatives of just Bosch, matrix of Bosch, other calendar types. Who knew? Arithmetic and astronomical calendars. Who knew? Just splashing, staring into the lights in the sky. Whoa. Of course. And it's interesting who's actually observing them, and you worship their doctrine. So holidays, Bosch, all this Bosch, Gregorian Calendar, right? So I mean, you relentlessly will lash out and call out the Bible. Whoa, it's being rewritten. Who knows what? Blah, blah. You just say blah blah, right? You just scoff at it and just blast. You can't wait to just just cry about it. You can't wait to just to cry about it, basically. But then what you believe to be 2019 and all this bash and all this bash. Well, who knew? Just before timekeeping, just shapeshifts over the parent quote unquote time. Timekeeping shapeshifts over time. Wow, who knew? Whoa, timekeeping is just you know. Wow, is it constant? Who knows? But you think it is, and all this bash and bash and bash and bash and bash and bash and bash. You're such good little predictors and this and that. Wow, wow. Of what? Day in, day out. Wow, who knew day in? Right. So what are you doing? What are you doing? Exactly, you don't know, but it's just planned out for you in a calendar, so you're just crossing your weeks off and you can't wait for your vacation and this and that and that and that. Bash. Bash. Right, because look how many times it's been refurbished and sold back to you and just said, nope, this one's the right one. Sometimes we look at the sun, sometimes we don't. Sometimes we just add a little here, take a little there. Exactly, they couldn't wait to tell you. It's all about adding and subtracting, just to just to make it work, just to make it seem that you're keeping apparent time. Could it be that we are just bashed into living some bashed time that we think we're in? Oh no, you're saying, wow, you've seen too many movies and this and that. Wow, no, you're in the greatest movie ever in your own belief. Of you being a character in your bash story that you make carving up for yourself. Wow. So who knew that this is the greatest movie that's ever been, and you're just bashing it because you think that somehow, whoa, we're so precise and we know everything and this and that and this and that. But then you relentlessly say, oh, the Mayans had the past and this, but somehow they all died, and who knows what happened to them. But somehow they predicted some 2012 bash, and who people lost their mind about it, and this and that and that. But I mean, what's going on? Because truly, now you're the timeless generation. You have no idea what time it is. Meaning, what you're living. Wow, you have no idea. You have no idea. You have no idea. And then you just bash. Oh, religious calendars, burn them all. And this and that. Just give me just pure logic and reason somehow. And sure, you can add and subtract to it. No problem. Just add, subtract. As long as, I see a sunrise and a sunset, I'm good. As long as I just get to go to have coffee with some bash next Tuesday, I'm good. As long as all the planned events on my calendar just are there, amazing. Give it to me. Fine, I'll just. What? It's gonna be a 8 day week now? Sure, no problem. Okay, sure. Wow, it's gonna give me 3 days of weekend. Wow, amazing. Let's do it. See, you'll just go along with anything bash. You don't care. And who knew that that's been the plan all along? Just to bash you into whatever bash it is, so that you just walk off the cliff yourself. Wow, no, it couldn't be, no, 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 no. Right? Although the years are still based on the traditional Buddhist calendar. Wow, who knew? All of them just love it. National calendars. In Thailand, where the Thai solar calendar is used, well, there's different kinds of suns, you see. The months and days have adopted the Western standard. What? So the months just said, okay, we give in. We'll take your method. Okay, and the day said the same. Although the years are still based on the traditional Buddhist calendar. Wow, amazing. So they made a hybrid. Wow, who knew? Amazing. You love hybrids. It's just smashing things together, bashing them and bashing them. All to whatever just works. It compromises and smash. Formats. Whoa, who knew? You could just personalize it. Wow. The U.S. Sunday is considered the first day of the week, and so appears on the far left on Saturday. So who knew? It's just all organized bastard. Just give you an image that you worship. Who knew? False idols. Wow. Right? Because what is life? Right? Wow. Right? You could wait. Some of the earliest theories of life were materialists. Who knew? Who knew? Who knew? Who knew? The Bashumerians knew this, right? Who knew? They learned it somehow. Wow. Holding that all that exists is matter. That's it. You're just Bash. That's why you're ashamed. They believe themselves to be naked. So they're like, okay, teach me how to not to be. How to just arm myself, boast myself with my clothing and say, wow, I made all this. So you hide behind all you've made and the names you've given it, and then you're boasting it, and then somehow you're not ashamed. You've accomplished so much. Wow. And life is merely a complex form of arrangement of matter. Wow. So your past, complexity of matter just made the conscious aware mind and all its complexity. Wow. Well, apparent complexity to you. Empedocles, 430 BC, argued that everything in the universe is made up of combination of four eternal elements, or roots of all: earth, water, air, and fire. Wow, exactly. Who knew this was probably like Sauron? He was Sauron. This guy was Sauron. Who knew? Right? Just master manipulator. Wow, who knew? All change is explained by the arrangement and rearrangement of these four elements. Who knew? The various forms of life are caused by an appropriate mixture of elements. Wow. And then you just zap it with lightning bolts, just relentless lightning bolts. And then somehow life happens. Wow. So who knew that you still believe this? Wow. So a proper mixture of elements just with the proper conditions and zap it. And somehow, wow, it's just allowed it to all just accidentally keep bashing together somehow. Somehow knowing how to just exchange, communicate this. If no, just okay, I do it. I do it for you. Smashed. Democritus, 460 BC, thought that the essential characteristic of life is having a soul, the psyche. Like other ancient writers, he was attempting to explain. Oh, so now they're telling you. He was attempting to explain. What he really meant was, what makes something a living thing. Wow, he tried to explain what a living thing was and what made something living. His explanation was that fiery atoms make a soul in exactly the same way atoms and void account for any other thing. He elaborates on fire because of the apparent connection between life and heat, And because fire moves, fire shapeshifts just like us, right? Wow. So, wow. Who knew you also still believe this? Wow. Plato's world of eternal and unchanging forms imperfectly represented in matter by a divine artisan contrasts sharply with the various mechanistic Walter of atomism was, by the 4th century at least, the most prominent. This debate persisted throughout the ancient world. Whoa! Atomicist, atomistic mechanism got a shot in the arm from Epicurus. Epicurus. Whoa, Epicurus. Oh. While the Stoics adopted a divine teleology. The choice seems simple. Either show how a structured, regular world could arise out of undirected processes or inject intelligence into the system. Inject it somehow to the system that I already was apparently bashing. What? So this the line the lines were drawn. So who knew that ancient Greece and all what you think ancient Greece was? Wow, who knew? You have no idea when that was. You just bash see like statues and this and bash people call it names and bash. All in the late 1800s into the 1900s and bash. You don't know. Why were they just finding it then? Oh, you say, oh, that's when they were digging. Wow, so people didn't dig before. Whoa, what a shame. You have no idea. You just told a story and then you parrot it back. And you're like, well, the Greeks were so amazing. And this and that and this and this and this and that. Wow. Who knew? You just see some Bosch statues and somehow it's just people that lived some Bosch thousands years ago. Oh, who knew? That's what you believe. Just like the evolutionary theory of Bosch Charles Darwin. Right. So I mean, of course, you that's what life is to you. Some self-preservation by fitness and just you live and others die, but all for the survival. Somehow your bash, you know, hamburger meat that somehow is preferable, and then you shapeshift and turn into other things. Amazing. Who knew? And then you just finally stop, and then you just fill the earth with with just relentless, astounding diversity and interconnected mechanisms and this and that, and down to your cellular communication and all this bash. Well, of course, it's just bash together through billions of trillions of billions of Harry Potter bash years. That's what you believe. Amazing. All because it's a story. It's a story of the counterfeit that you just love, right? You just told that story. It was bash repeated to you relentlessly to the point of what you actually live is laughable, and that's why it's never enough for you. You always have to shapeshift it and control it, manipulate it to somehow make you feel fulfilled. And somehow, I mean, you're the self-fulfilling prophecy, right? Because who knew Christ Jesus is the spirit of all prophecy, right? But no, you have to be the self-fulfilling prophecy, right? Or just mock prophecy because they're like, oh well, just somehow, all these cults, get people to believe in this, and they say, well, this is gonna happen there and there and there and this and that and this and this and wow, fine, follow those false prophets because who knew? No, it's been written. There's resolve. Who knew? Who knew we are being deceived, and not because you say, yeah, well, things are just bosh and there's corruption and this and this and but it's because we're just so greedy and we're just so this and that. And exactly, you justify your abuse. Because to you it's laughable, to be holy. It's laughable to seek refuge in truth. It's laughable to you to have peace in the flesh, endure it, and overcome. It's laughable to you. Because somehow you see, well, I believe all those things, but I'm not supposedly religious and this and that and this. Wow, smashed. Exactly, you serve two masters. And then just cherry pick whichever one you want to be and whichever one you want to serve, or hate one and love the other, or just be devoted to one and just despise the other. So it's just you can't. You're split. You're splitteth. A self-fulfilling prophecy is a prediction that directly or indirectly causes itself to become true by the very terms of the prophecy itself, due to positive feedback between belief and behavior. Oh, wow. A positive or negative prophecy, strongly held belief, or delusion, declared as truth when it is actually false, may sufficiently influence people so that their reactions ultimately fulfill the once false prophecy. Wow. So who knew that the once false prophecy, the false premise, was the promise of giving you something you already had? And you were subverted by it because in your doubt you were split. And in your doubt you were split. And your eyes were open. So now you had to prove yourself right. You had to prove yourself right in your denial, in your doubt, and you're believing yourself to be void, a shell, naked. Now you needed to go fill up. So what did you fill yourself with? Well, self-fulfilling prophecy are effects of behavioral confirmation effect, in which behavior influenced by expectation causes those expectations to come true. Manipulation. It is complementary to self-defeating prophecy. Examples of such prophecies can be found in literature as far back as ancient Greece and ancient India. It is 20th century sociologist Robert K. Merton who is credited, just boasting, with coining the expression self-fulfilling prophecy and formalizing its structure and consequences. So he just had the whole model. Amazing. In his 1948 article, again, after World War II, amazing. Self-fulfilling prophecy. Merton defines it in the following terms. The self-fulfilling prophecy is, in the beginning, a false definition of the situation, evoking a new behavior which makes the original false concept come true. This specious validity of the self-fulfilling prophecy perpetuates a reign of error, for the prophet will cite the actual course of events as proof that he was right from the very beginning. Well, can you not see that these are the mechanisms used? For in the wisdom that exists, right, in the Word of God, you still mock it. Because you say, well, no, we're just totally, we're just, we're, there's nothing about that wisdom that applies to us. No, we're just so modern. That was just so old and so long ago. Who knows, right? No, no, no. We have it all right. We have it all right. Don't worry. It's just we have it all. Now we can just take all the proverbs of all the mysteries and this and esoterics and one ring to rule them all. So relentlessly put it on to just sneak out all the demons, and then, whoa, you just reappear somewhere else, and you're like, oh, phew, smashed. right? Because who knew that everything, all world events, blah blah blah, bash bash bash, going back to some bash Albert Pike who wrote, the world wars and all this bash. So he laid out, a prophecy, world events, and who knew that they were being fulfilled, right? So not even looking at the Bible anymore, or the Word of God, you now looking back into, common era, 100 years ago, and this and that. Wow, right? People are doing work. What work are people doing? People are just so hard at work. What are people doing? Oh, you just say, oh, people are just regular ass people, and they just working here at the Home Depot and the Posh there, and just the relentless restaurants and this. It's so fine. Don't worry. Everyone's just Everyone has just decent, very just honorable jobs, and just leave them alone. They just do good. Everyone's out there doing good and working good. Who knew? Wow, how bashed. That's what you believe. And somehow, fine, there's the bad apples that ruin it for all of us because we're just all good. Wow, no. Who knew that it's a bash that's just relentlessly greasing you and grinding you and crushing you, right? And it's the swamp of false dreams, and you're just relentlessly drowning in your own blood, right? Just let me out. It's bashed, right? But somehow you've relentlessly bashed yourself into believing that somehow you're the change and you're metamorphosizing it all and bash. You're just alchemicalizing it, spirit cooking it all into some bash utopia. Wow, what a shame. You deny what life is. To you, it's just some self fulfilling prophecy to prove yourself right. Despite the resolve and the wisdom and the word of God, despite that, you are out here bashing in your own self fulfilling prophecy, right? Calling it your own bash way and laughing at the actual revelations of the word of God. And that every prophecy, has come to fruition, every single thing. But you don't see it. And you call it, oh, well, that was just coincidence and that. And, well, who knows? And then you laugh at all the bash false prophets that have said, oh, this is the end days. And then it came and never came. And then, wow, people just laughed. Right? So who knew? And you just laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh and just mock. Exactly. You're void. And everything that you believe, you put in the basket of all the great meanders of the brain, of the Bosch brain, the tumor that grows inside of your head, just the brain, right? So Bosch, that's to you, it's the king. Amazing, your brain worship, self-fulfilling prophecy. Who knew? All based on the ritual that you do day in, day out. Ritual. What is a ritual? No, you call it work. No, what is a ritual that just confirms that prophecy cometh true? Right? And all because the bash manipulation of your void emotional state, right? Because you are projecting the unconditional love of the Father, which in recognition of, and if you allowed it in, wow, who knew you would, things like being half full or not full or just half empty, and it, wow, that becomes laughable. Well, applications, examples abound in studies of cognitive dissonance theory and the related self perception theory. People will often change their attitudes to come into line with what they profess publicly. In the United States, the concept was broadly and consistently applied in the field of public education reform following war on poverty. Theodore Problem noted, in simplest term, education already projects and thereby reinforces whatever habits of personal and cultural life are considered to be acceptable and dominant. Wow. So it projects and therefore reinforces the rituals of personal and cultural life. Just so you're aligned. Just so you know what's acceptable and dominant. Who knew? So who knew that through the calendar there's events planned out for you and your belief? But no, it's somehow you think it's your that you get to use it, fill it with whatever you want. Wow, what a shame. And all the while you're just down, you're walking the plank to your imminent bash annihilation, all because you rejected life in the living, and you rejected your father, your creator, who knew. There is extensive evidence of interpersonal expectation effects, where the seemingly private expectations of individuals can predict the outcome of the world around them. Oh, empaths, right? Mediums. Well, what are you saying? The mechanisms by which this occurs are also reasonably well understood. It is simply that our own expectations change our behavior in ways we may not notice and correct. In the case of interpersonal expectation effect, others pick up on nonverbal behavior which affects their attitudes. What's it, Bash? Mind over matter, right? Oh, mind over matter. Sports. Players are selected based on skill, motor coordination, physical maturity, and other individual merit criteria. However, so recruitment. Psychologist Robert Barnsley showed that in any elite group of hockey players, 40% are born between January and March versus the approximately 25% as would be predicted by statistics. The explanation is that Canada, the eligibility cutoff for age hockey is January 1st, and the players who are born in the first months of the year are older by 0 to 11 months, which at the pre-adolescent age of selection, 9 or 10, manifests into an important physical advantage. The selected players are exposed to higher levels of coaching, play more games, and have better teammates. These factors make them actually become the best players, fulfilling the prophecy. While the real selection criterion was age. Right? So, who knew that? Well, they give you one bash example, but who knew there's relentless just shanks in what you perceive to be the life that you live that exists to make you believe that's life and that somehow you're so victorious, right? And that you're so you're fulfilling the prophecy of I'm the chosen one for whatever you name it. In this case, it's sports or whatever, hockey. Wow, and just relentless ways to manipulate to just boast you and just give you a better position. This specific form of self fulfilling prophecy is very common. It takes many forms. For example, the expectancy for a political party to act in a certain way based on race, religion, gender, and much more can eventually lead the said party to imitate the stereotype. So they just shapeshift to whatever the image was of them in the first place. Is that what they're saying? That's why they're constantly temperature checking and bastering. Yes, who knew? In literature, self fulfilling prophecies are often used as plot devices, traps. They have been used in stories for millennia, but have gained a lot of popularity recently in the science fiction genre. Aww. They are typically used, ironically, with the prophecies events coming to pass due to the actions of one trying to prevent the prophecy. A recent example would be the life of Anakin Skywalker, the fictional Jedi turned Sith Lord, Jeroboam, Luke. They are also sometimes used as comic relief. Well, who knew plot devices? Right? It's a technique. Is any technique in a narrative used to move the plot forward? A contrived or arbitrary plot device may annoy or confuse the reader, causing a loss of the suspension of disbelief. However, a well-crafted plot device, or one that emerges naturally from the setting, who knew would just be successful. Wow. Classical. Many myths, legends, and fairy tales make use of this motive as a central element of narratives that are designed to illustrate inexorable fate. fundamental to the Hellenic worldview. In a common motive, a child, whether newborn or not yet conceived, is prophesied to cause something that those in power do not want to happen. This may be the death of the powerful person. In more light-hearted versions, it is often the marriage of a poor or lower-class child to his own. The events come about nevertheless as a result of actions taken to prevent them. Frequently, child abandonment sets the chain of events in motion. So now they're going to post what? Archetypes, blah, 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 blah. The hero and this and blah, blah, blah. Right, who knew they were just worms that defile you in your bash, split, self-aware doubt? Who knew? And then you meander and then you just bash. You're bashed with experience, a sense of, I experienced, that affected me. Now you bash it and embody it. Right, Roman, Persian, Arabic, Hinduism, Russian, European fairy tales, who knew Shakespeare, modern, new thought, the law of attraction, who knew? Is an example of self-fulfilling prophecy, right? Attracting it, and then one day it'll just happen. It is a name given to the belief that like attracts like, and that by focusing on positive or negative thoughts, one can bring about positive or negative results. You are the master. You serve two masters. Wow, splitteth. All things are created by this, but you believe you're like, no, I'm not splitteth. I synthesize, and I just relentlessly just bash, worship negativity, and bash positive. Wow, amazing. Or you hate one and love the other, and just this and this and the other. Wow, splitteth. Serving two masters. One on your cake and eating it too. Who knew? Although there are some cases where positive or negative attitudes can produce corresponding results, principally the placebo and nocebo effects. There is no scientific basis to the law of attraction. Wow, who knew? But it's relentlessly posted out there, and it's brought to you by the worshippers of light. Who knew? Because they don't give a bash as long as you'll bash, eat it, and believe it. Yes. Fake it till you make it. Who knew? Right? Because instead of receiving and filtering the word of God and its wisdom that is applicable in the flesh, who knew? What is there? It's been written. Wow, it's prophet. This Christ Jesus, the Spirit of all prophecy. Who knew? The way, right? But no, there's no such thing to you as the way, the truth, or the life. No, no. To you, it's just 12 monkeys. Just bashing around, just hanging on his wall, roping around with Oedipus Rex. Oh, yes. Self-validating yourself. Who knew? See? Self-fulfilling prophecy. You're the relentless self-lover. You're just going to pass your way to your dreams. You exactly, you have now said, I am my own prophecy maker. I will create my own future and passion it. Oh, so hard. And you just laugh at the spirit of all prophecy. Wow, what a shame. All because in your self-fulfilling prophecy, you get to live it over and over and over again and just say, yes, give me more. Or I'm just working so amazingly. It's just, please give me another day to just finish it. Right? And this and that. Right? Who knew? Who knew? Groundhog Day, right? Whoa! Right? 1993, who knew? Written by Ramos and Danny Rubin. Wow, the power couple. So it was a family. Wow. Written by Harold. Oh, no. Directed by Harold Ramis. And written by Ramis and Danny Rubin. Oh, so they just have Ramis. Wow, amazing. Who gives a bash? Bash. As a TV weatherman who, during an assignment covering the annual Groundhog Day event, is caught in a time loop, repeatedly reliving the same day. Who knew? Was a modest success. Blah 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 blah. Generated positive reviews. It later attracted critical acclaim and is often included in lists of the best films of comedy. Wow! The term Groundhog Day is now used to describe a recurring situation in government and military arenas. In 2006, the film was added to the United States National Film Registry as being deemed culturally, historically, and aesthetically significant. Right? In shape shifting your bash image, your embodiment of this and accepting it somehow, right? In your trauma, you now accept it. You have empathy for it, even though it's how you're smashed. So who knew movies are just ways of you accepting and just bashing and just more Stockholm syndrome? Well, who knew? A stage musical adaptation premiered in 2016. Whoa! The film often considered an allegory of self-improvement, of course, self-help, wisdom, right? All the champions of the New World Order and the New Age philosophy of just self-help, relentless blasting yourself down and smashing that kundalini, blasting to your third eye, just blasting you and just coming all over your face. Emphasizing that happiness comes from placing the needs of others above one's own selfish desires. Oh. As a release film offers no explanation why the time loop occurs or why it ends. Wow. Viewers are left to draw their own conclusions. Wow, create your own story. Who knew? False Promise, the unicorn store. Ruben has said that while he and Ramis discussed several of the philosophical and spiritual aspects of the film, they never intended it to be anything more than a good, heartfelt, and entertaining story. Even though they relentlessly discussed several philosophical and spiritual aspects of the film, oh, right, that they actually never intended it to have, you traumatized or past exposed to it. They just wanted it to be just some jolly, good ass, regular ass movie of entrainment. Wow, you believe? Oh, what a shame. But of course, it was just a commercial for self improvement. Who knew? Right? Because wow, just you're in it just to better yourself. The relentless, lives that you repeat, right? In reincarnation, right? So who knew? Has become shorthand for the concept of spiritual transcendence. In philosophy, transcendence conveys the basic ground concept from the world's literal meaning of climbing or going beyond, albeit with varying connotations in its different historical and cultural stages. It includes philosophies, systems, and approaches that describe the fundamental structures of blah blah blah. Wow. As such, the film has become a favorite of some Buddhists who see the themes of selflessness and rebirth as reflections of their own spiritual message. In the Roman Catholic tradition, it has been seen as a representation of purgatory. The Roman Catholics, who knew? Black Sun worshippers, who knew? Connors goes to his own version of hell, but since he's not evil, it turns out to be purgatory, from which he is released by shedding his selfishness and committing to acts of love. Wow. Meanwhile, Hindus and Buddhists see versions of reincarnations here, and Jews find great significance in the fact that Connors is saved only after he performs mitzvah, good deeds, and is returned to earth, not heaven, to perform more. It has even been described by some religious leaders as the most spiritual film of our time. Some religious leaders who? The most spiritual film. Whoa, the most spiritual film. Wow. Why not the most religious, right? Oh, no, 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 no. The most spiritual. What does that even mean? They don't know, but they boast in it. The spiritual film. But these people never intended it, right? It had to be on record that they never intended to be anything more than a good, heartfelt, entertaining story. Oh, sure. I believe you because they say it. It's it's a honest signal. I believe it. Wow, what shame. Baba Bash. The curse is lifted when Bill Murray blesses the day he just lived. So he blesses it, right? Not the creator. He blesses it. He blesses it and just says, wow, I give a blessing and I forgive myself and I love myself relentlessly. Wrote the critic Brick Brother, and his reward is that the day is taken from him. The day is taken from him. Yeah, who knew that when you accept yourself as your own God, you lose yourself? Who knew? You lose yourself in the day in, day out. Loving life includes loving the fact that it goes. Oh, again, uh, making you love life and just Gaia and somehow YOLO and make the best of it. And this is all according to your past efforts and self help and self transformation. Wow, what a shame. Man does not renew a thing. You can only brainwash yourself into thinking of some betterment, all while boasting in your bash enlightenment of nothing. But who knew? Wow, Groundhog Day, right? Legacy, wow. The narrative of the protagonist trapped in a time loop where escapes is possible only after accumulating knowledge through multiple passes, right? Again, worship of knowledge is power, right? But no, all the knowledge in the world won't save you, won't help you. No. What you refuse is the wisdom that guides you to endure the flesh. Who knew? But no, instead you just give it up. Just come back, but I need to learn more by my own bash. Ruben noted that, well, blah blah, stumped upon a story with all the makings of a classic. So simple and so true it could be retold many different ways by many different storytellers. I go on storytelling again. Wow. So now, who knew that this was probably some mystery teaching, story, allegory, and now they shapeshifted, refurbished it, and packaged you and sold it to you as what they call Groundhog Day, just to make you aware of what is going on, but all the while, just it's an entrainment. Who knew? Right? Who know? I mean, wow, it's so amazing. See, it's just an influential. Who knew? Their own words. Culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant, right? As being culturally, historically, or what? Who knew? It was a program. Who knew it was a project? Just like Neil, he's in the, just there. He's like, "Whoa, what do you need? I need guns. So what? What do you need? Then you needed this, and now it blasted you. Now got you. No, amazing." So even if you haven't even seen the movie, you're still in it. Wow. Groundhog Day, right? And what does Groundhog do? Perpetuity, right? Perpetuity, right? And so Bosch calendar, you self prophesize the next day, right? And the next plan, the next weekend, blah 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 blah. You believe it, and that's your self prophecy. You believe yourself right, day in, day out, year after year, right? Somehow, but somehow it's subtracted and added to, and blah blah blah, bash bash bash. And there's been superimposed time, even sometimes with the moon, sometimes with the sun, blah blah blah, with Jupiter, blah blah, Saturn, who knew? Wow, it's amazing. But somehow you're given little dates like this, 4 or 5 BC, and you believe it, and all this stuff. Wow, the Julian date, 6 March 632, and all because, whoa, we have the records, and no, none of it has shanks in it. None of it. No, no, no. It was just seamless. It was just seamless. Nothing has been lost. Don't worry. No, it's just been amazing. Regular ass people just carrying forth. Regular ass people. No. What a shame. But what remains? The word of God. Wow, who knew that calleth relentlessly? So do you answer? No, because you're the person sending out signals relentlessly, waiting for some past galactic family out there with the sun, moon, and beyond to just answer back. Who knew? You've been doing that forever, channeling with the spirits of the star, the lights in the sky, and this, and just murmuring with their what they have to say and the images they have to show you, and this and that. Wow. Wow, who knew? No, but no. It's just a calendar, a chart of series of pages showing the days, weeks, and months of a particular year or given particular seasonal information. Oh, thank you. Right? Wow. Right, and again, the life, right? According to Wiki, well, it's all that bash saying, well, it's just sometimes it's just super complex. It's just super complex, but it came from something so simple. That's why it's evolution and this and that, and just split it into the RNA world. Whereas current life may have, or oh, because there's been many bash refurbished versions and kill offs and just spur ups and just amazing. Life may have descended from an RNA world, although RNA based life may not have been the first, right? Because viruses are RNA and we have DNA, right? Or whatever past, right? And it's amazing. Oh, RNA world. Oh, can you help me how to get to RNA world? Since its primordial beginnings, life on Earth has changed its environmental on geological timescale. Oh, it just shape shifted its environment on a geological timescale, right? Timekeeping, right? Time. So they pass you into the knowing of time that you are the master timekeeper, but somehow it's just been smashed over you. It's been smashed over you, superimposed and this and that, all to govern you. For truly, what is it that you wow, do you see, do you know day in, day out, do you know the seasons? Wow. The moon marketh the night, the sun, the day. Wow. Who knew that people have been doing it forever? But somehow, no, it has to be this calendar and that one, and this calendar and that the other. And somehow those ones have better telescopes and they know that. But no, others didn't have telescopes, but they were somehow the best and this and that. Whoa. Nothing, right? And somehow this is precise and unprecise, but somehow we add and subtract and whoa. And sometimes life just, has to keep up with the time scales of this. Whoa. And it shape shifts its ecosystem for a geological time scale. Whoa. How sad. How sad, right? Wow. Though currently only known on Earth, life need not be restricted to it. Oh, they couldn't wait. There's relentless Gaias out there, and many scientists speculate in the existence of extraterrestrial life, right? Because, well, probability says, of course, it'd be stupid to think that we're the only ones. Artificial life is a computer simulation or man made reconstruction of any aspect of life, which is often used to examine systems related to natural life. Wow, exactly. Artificial life to just counterfeit, right, back engineer natural, like what actually already happens. Wow. Death is the permanent termination of biological functions with sustained organisms, and as such is the end of its life. Extinction is the term describing the dying off of a group of taxon. Usually in a species, fossils are the preserved remains of traces of said organism. Wow, Bash. Amazing. Wow, biophysics. Wow. Right? Who gives a bash? But again, materialism. Who knew? Again, did you still worship all this? Well, who knew? So to you, you wow, so much has changed. No, who knew your worship is still the same? And it's just shapeshifted and just refurbished itself all to self, in self-preservation. After it killed all the prophets, it had to just bash, 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 and create all of this so fast. So who knew that they were hard at work? Work, work, work. Right, because the conditions that distinguishes animals and plants from inorganic matter, including the capacity for growth, reproduction, functional activity, and the continual change preceding death. Right, and the continual change preceding death. Whoa, whoa, that's alive. The existence of an individual human being or animal. Wow, the existence. Wow, what is existence? Wow, we don't know, but it's existence. Oh, I'm existence. I'm consciousness. Wow, smashed. You're this guy staring into the abyss, right? He's like, oh, the meaning of life. Whoa, how sad. And then you're so confused. Why you're just so unfulfilled and just bashing. You hope the happiness that you think you have won't fade away because you're fragmented. Who knew? You're just a fragment, right? You're just I'm just not quite full. Just oh man, can you rub me this way now? Oh no, let's just try something different. Oh no, 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 bash, unfulfilled. Right? Just the right. Never just quite finished. You split, right? The line double lightning bolt, the SS. Who knew? Doing the bidding of that which fragments. Whoa, who knew? All while promising you some glory, right? A power of inheritance of the enlightenment in the flesh. No, for you're still in fret, right? You're still this guy. In the worship of the light, this is you. Who knew? All thinking, wow, it's pretty real. I can tell it's a face. Wow, who knew? Smashed. For the real thing is just not good enough for you. Because you ultimately hate yourself. And that's why you're constantly trying to better yourself and better and just self help and this and this. And feel just relaxed and just replenished and full. I want to feel good, full, good, happy, full of energy, just to go out in friction as much as I can. Yeah. Well, who knew you just been splashing? You're just trying to pick up all the pieces or just put all the pieces together so that somehow they make sense to you. Oh. Oh, and you're just, I'm teaching myself and bash, 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 and bash, self wisdom, bash, 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 bash. Try, just relentlessly try to be nice and this and nothing. Just try, do and sometimes not do and just sometimes not do all the way and this and wow. Because where do we even get the notion, right, of Groundhog Day or this or the self-fulfilling prophecy or even the storytelling, right? I mean, of course, we have to believe a story, even to even come to this. So, what story's been told, right? Well, who knew that Jesuits, right? Nobody. Somehow, it's the Society of Jesus. Whoa, the Society of Jesus, right? What is a society, right? The aggregate of people living together in a more or less ordered community. Ordered by what? By who? Ordered, right? Ordered what? an organization or club formed for a particular purpose or activity. Who knew? So, why would something be created called the Society of Jesus when the Word of God says nothing of the, of this? No, you don't have to pertain to a society of Jesus to be a follower of Christ, follower of the way, of a way to the Father who knew. But no, why did it have to be a society of Jesus? Oh, right? Could it be that it was used to just bash you with it and mock you? Who knew? But no, they're the real deal. They're actually they're Christians in name. And then that's you blame that for all the they just killed and bash, right? Who knew? Right? In Spanish America, Jose de Acosta wrote major work on early Peru and New Spain with important material on indigenous people. Wow, who knew, right? Because who knew that these people wrote apparently the major works of what people think the Peru people were and all the other rest? They were the ones who brought the storytelling forward. Oh, but somehow, no, somehow you just believe they were just so honest because somehow they were the society of Jesus. Why do you need to be a part of some bash society of Jesus, right? No. No. So who knew that they were out there, right? They were out there with a particular purpose of action. They were out there just bashing the new world. The new world. Wow, who knew? And they wrote the history that you bash worship of all these places. And apparently what was there and what they did and everything and everything. But who knew that most of these works were written after the fact, most times hundreds of years after the actual place, the actual, murdering and all the conquests and all the accounts took place. And then they used the so-called already assimilated, second generation or third generation, indigenous people to write accounts of how whatever they were bashed already into doing. So what? Now they're gonna write just falsehoods and falsehoods and falsehoods. Wow, self-fulfilling prophecy. Who knew? Right? Interjecting, making, adding, subtracting, and then the originals burnt, lost, and then copies. Right? Because the workings of some of the actual, apparent people that had lived during whatever events were taking place. Those works were then assimilated by some Jesuit priests, blah, 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 wrote, and then the originals destroyed. And now the only account pushed forward is the accounts written by these bashes. Whoa. In South America, Peter Claver was notable for his mission to African slaves, building on the work of Alonso de Sandoval. Francisco Javier Clavijero was expelled from New Spain during the suppression of Society of Jesus in 1767 and wrote an important history of Mexico during his exile in Italy. So he wrote the history of Mexico in exile. Amazing, right? So who knew that what we think we know about Mexico, what we think we know about Peru and all these other places was cooked up by these people because they were the brotherhood carrying forth some posh new agenda of the worship of the light. all masking themselves, posing as, followers of Christ. Who knew? But you'll say, no, 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 that's not true. No. Well, fine, believe it and suffer and die. Because truly that's what you worship and what you will do anyway. So that's why I say. But if you have the ear to listen, well, then draw near to the Lord. Seek refuge in truth. May His wisdom be revealed to you, so that you may endure the flesh, overcome. Yes, but no, you'll just take it as face value. Wow, oh, okay, they knew. They just wrote everything so honestly and down and without any manipulation. And don't worry about all the killing that was taking place and all this. No, that's fine. It's all good. This and that, and just relentlessly accurate. Don't worry. It's just relentlessly accurate after accuracy. Right? Because who writes history? The victors, right? So, wow, exactly. Who won, right? Wow, the followers of Christ surely were killed. So we're the survivors, so we killed them all. So we are, in fact, the ones who just couldn't wait to boast in the lie. And now we are the product of such worship. The self fulfilling prophecy of creating another image for you to worship. And that's why it's not enough and you're just unfulfilled. But it was perfectly crafted. Who knew that Satan was hard at work? To unleash, right? Those who were doing his bidding, preparing for for Satan's return and all this bash, bash, bash. How did it all, how did we all become deceived? Oh, nobody knows, but it's right in front of you. But you deny it. Right? Because the writers of history, and who knew? I mean, notable members, right? Blah, blah, Pope Francis, all these bash. No, who knew? Yes. Right? In science, between the 16th and 18th centuries, the teachings of science in Jesuit schools, as laid down in the Ratio Attica Instituto Torretore Societas Lesu, the official plan of studies for the Society of Jesus, 1599, was almost entirely based on the works of Aristotle. Wow. The Jesuits, nevertheless, have made numerous significant contributions to development of science. For example, the Jesuits have dedicated significant study to earthquakes, and seismology has been described as the Jesuit science. Whoa. The Jesuits have been described as the single most important contributor to the experimental physics in the 17th century, according to Jonathan Wright in his book called Soldier. By the 18th century, blah, 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 contributed to the development of pendulum clocks, pantograms, barometers, reflecting telescopes, and microscopes. To scientific fields as various as magnetism, optics, and electricity, they observed, in some cases before anyone else, the colored bands of Jupiter's surface and Andromeda Nebula and Saturn's rings. They theorized about the circulation of the blood independently of Harvey, the theoretical possibility of flight, the way the moon affected the tides, and the wave-like nature of light. Wow, who knew? Because they were worshippers of light. Wow, who knew? So exactly, why would why would apparent followers of Christ just be doing this? Exactly, they're not, in name only. That's why it's the Society of Jesus. Who knew? Rescue efforts during the Holocaust and all. Wow, they suffered. Oh, this is Gestapo, the Gestapo. Oh, the child sexual abuse. Members of the Society of the Jesuits of Society of Jesus have been implicated in the Catholic Church sexual abuse cases. Who knew? Oh. Theological divide, anti-Semitism, blah 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 blah. In political intrigue, they were banished from France in 1594 after a man named Jean Châtel tried to assassinate the King of France, Henri IV. Under questioning, Châtel revealed that he had been educated by the Jesuit College of Clermont. The Jesuits were accused of inspiring Jesuit attack. Wow. Who knew that that the Jesuits conspire and do to bribe and this and this? They just have an invisible hand, right? In what you just think or events such as randomly happen. Wow. Who knew that in the resolve of the creation of the Father, right, is Jesus was the prophecy, right? The spirit of all prophecy that spoke, revealeth, showeth the way, right? But no, you have to then you just mock and create some bash thing that you think is coming manifest, right? You see all the past shows of science fiction, now all the technologies are coming true, and somehow you're like, wow, boasting that and this and this and that and this and that, all making you believe in the false life you have taken as truth. Wow. And your relative truth and this and that and this. Wow. Amazing. The formation, training of Jesuits seek to prepare men spiritually, academically, and practically for the ministries they will be called to offer the church and the world. So to serve two masters, called to offer the church and the world. Wow, they're telling you right there. They serve two masters. Who knew? Because, wow, the spirituality practiced by the Jesuits, called Ignatian spirituality, ultimately based on the Catholic faith. So why do they call themselves the Society of Jesus? Wow, sure. And the Gospels, in drawn from the closer of the letters of Paul, and the most especially from the Ignatian spiritual exercise of Paul, whose purpose is to conquer oneself and to regulate one's life in such a way that no decision is made under the influence of any inordinate attachment. That sounds like self-help to me. The exercise culminate in contemplation, whereby one develops a facility to find God in all things. That sounds like meditation to me, and worship of the light. Pantheism. All this flash, worship of the elements and all one is one, all this one and wow, just in name only. Wow. Wow. Post Vatican, this, blah, blah, blah. Right, the Society of Jesus is a scholarly religious congregation of the Catholic Church for men which originated in the 16th century Spain. The members are called Jesuits. The society is engaged in evangelizing and apostolic ministry in 112 nations. Jesuits work in education, intellectual research, wow, and cultural pursuits. Jesuits also give retreats, minister in hospitals and parishes, sponsor direct social ministries, and promote ecumenical dialogue. Refer to efforts towards the visible and organic unity of different Christian denominations in some. Wow. So they just want to unite all of them with one, right, under one ring. What is going on exactly? Just in name only. Bob founded the society after discerning his spiritual vocation while recovering from a wound sustained in the Battle of Pamplona. So his head was bashed and he was regenerating, and he's like, "Us, this is what I must do." He composed a spiritual exercise to help others follow the teachings of Jesus Christ. Spiritual exercises composed blah blah blah, blah meditations, contemplations, and prayers written by Saint Ignatius of Loyola, preacher, theologian, and founder of the Society of Jesus. Divided into four thematic. Wow, four themes. Oh, again, storytelling. So who knew that this guy was the wedge? You know, he was just wedge bashing some wedge to cooking you into creating your own notion of spiritual exercise and enlightenment and just bashing worship of the light. Wow. All using the name in name only. Wow. To push some just the false. Who knew? Formula of the Institute. Oh, of course, of course. Wow, look at all the right in Canada, United States, Mexico. Oh, notable. Oh, of course. Right, because I mean, weren't they? Didn't they call themselves the soldiers of God or something like that? Right, right. Ignatius Blah declared that the society was founded for whoever desires to serve as a soldier of God, to strive especially for the defense and propagation of the faith, and for the progress of souls in Christian life and doctrine. Soldiers? Followers of Christ? Soldiers? What? Exactly, what are they saying? Seems like the followers of Christ, abandoned the way and took up arms somehow and said, "We're not gonna take it. We're not gonna take it." And said, "Smash, smash, smash. We're gonna carve our way for our own," and just propagate and some bash relative faith and some bash progressive soul. Whoa, who knew? Colloquially known as God's soldiers, God's Marines. Wow. Oh, right. And then people say, "Oh, it's the Templars that were this and the Rosicrucians." Oh, wow, who knew? What about the Jesuits and how they just told you the story of the New World, cooked it up for you, and you ate it. You have no idea what was already here. No clue. But somehow this you're just so confident in what you believe, the calendar, and that it goes, you spin and spin and spin, and all this stuff, and bosh, 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 and exactly all these relaunches and rehash and refurbish of bosh things, right? The Canadian Flat Earth Society, right? Another society, was established on November 8th, 1970 by philosopher Leo Ferrari. St. Thomas University philosophy professor, noted St. Augustine scholar and founding member of the Parody Organization, Flat Earth Society of Canada. So it's a parody organization, right? They couldn't wait. Ri- Writer Raymond Fraser and poet Alden Lowell, uh, and was active until 1984. Its archives are held at the University of New Brunswick. Calling themselves planoterralists, no, planoterrestrialists, their aim were quite different from other flat earth societies. They claimed a prevailing problem of the new technological age was the willingness of people to accept theories on blind faith and to reject the evidence of their own senses. The periodic intention of the society appeared in the writings of Ferrari, as he attributed everything from gender to racial inequality on the globalized and the spherical Earth model. Ferrari even claimed to have nearly fallen off the edge of the Earth at Brimstone Head on Fogo Island. Ferrari was interviewed as an expert in 1990 Flat Earth mockumentary In Search of the Edge by Pancake Productions, a reference to the expression as flat as a pancake. In the accompanying study guide, Ferrari is outed as a globularist. So he just, what, a globe head? Amazing. A nonce word for someone who believes the earth is spherical. The real intent of the film, which was part funded by the Ontario Arts Council and National Film Board of Canada, was to promote school children's critical thinking and media literacy by attempting to prove in convincing fashion something everyone knew to be false. Right, so who knew that they're just relentlessly messing with you? Bashing you. Oh no, it was satire. Oh, it's comedy. No, this society means nothing. Right? Because who knew that there's an international flat Earth research society and this and that and that and this and that. Wow, modern flat Earth societies. Wow. Modern flat Earth societies are organizations that promote the misconception that the Earth is flat rather than a globe. Such groups date from the middle 20th century. Some adherents are serious and some are not. Those who are not serious are often motivated by pseudoscience or biblical literalism. They couldn't wait. Through the use of social media, flat earth theories have been increasingly espoused by individuals unaffiliated with larger groups, many of which have members from several countries. Right? So, I mean, in a self fulfilling prophecy, right, you have to have the people to prove you right. So who knew that all these things come out just so that you can say, "Wow, of course we're right," because wow, look at all these Bosch people that believe this, right, blah blah blah, right? Amazing. So if you're relentlessly hydrating, shifting, they're just transforming relentlessly, so that you can go out there and say, "Oh, of course, no wonder I'm right." Yeah, that's how it works. That's the Groundhog Day, right? Because, well, on the misconception, right? So it's just a misconception. But all just because you can see the earth, right, from some powers saying, no, of course that's real. So then you have the full conception, and these people have the misconception. So now it's just you against them, and you're so right. Self fulfilled prophecy, all when it was a false premise to begin with, right? So you just have no clue. You have no clue. No clue. But somehow you're just boasting and oh, it's fact. How can you be so stupid in this? Wow. Well, how sad. How sad for you. Because truly your life is sad, and that's why I say it, because it's the truth. You're unfulfilled and relentlessly sitting down, huffing and puffing to get hemorrhoids and just blast with baby Buddha and swim in some posh ether that you call astral planes and just blast with the elves, and who knows, they tell you things like, oh. And sometimes you just have to fight off the dragons and there's a blah. And somehow you just come back and post and you say, wow, I'm so amazing. Through the use of social media, flat earth theories have been increasingly, wow, bash. So what is this? Samuel Shenton created International Flat Earth Research Society as a successor to Universal Zetetic Society, running it as organizing secretary from his home in Dover, England. Wow. England, Mother England. Given Shenton's interest in alternative science and technology, the emphasis of religious arguments was less than in the predecessor society. When satellite images shown Earth as sphere, Shenton remarked, "It's easy to see how a photograph like that could fool the untrained eye." Later asked about similar photographs taken by astronauts, he attributed curvature to the use of wide-angle lens, adding, "It's a deception of the public and it isn't right." In 1969, Shenton persuaded Ellis Hillman, a Polytechnic of East London lecturer, to become president of Flat Earth Society, so he just convinced her. But there is still little evidence of any activity on his part until Shenton's death, when he added most of Shenton's library to Archives of Science Fiction Foundation he helped to establish. Aww. Shenton died in 1971. Charles K. Johnson inherited part of Shenton's library from Shenton's wife and established and became president of the National Flat Research Society of America and Covenant People's Church in California. Over the next 3 decades, under this leadership, Flat Earth Society grew to a reported 3,500 members. Wow. Johnson issued many publications and handled all membership applications. The most famous publication was Flat Earth News, a quarterly 4-page tabloid. Johnson paid for these publications through annual members due, costing US $6, US $10 over the course of his leadership. Johnson cited the Bible and his beliefs, and he saw the scientists as pulling a hoax which would replace religion with science. Well, who knew? The Flat Earth Society most recent planet model is that humanity lives on a disk, with the North Pole at the center, blah, blah, the Antarctica at the edge, blah, blah, symbol of the United Nations, which Johnson used as evidence for his position. In this model, the sun and moon are each 32 miles, 52 kilometers in diameter. Flat Earth Society. Oh, so now it just changed name. So now, what was the Research Society? Well, no, it's just, now it's Flat Earth Society. Recruited members by speaking against the U.S. government and its allegiances, particularly not. Well, so here's the Flat Earth Society. Here it's Flat Earth Society. And up here it's International Flat Earth Research Society. So which is it? Because there's some other bash that, that would say, oh, I founded IFERS, right? Or this or the other, bash, bash, bash. What is it? Who knew? Oh. Wow. Right? Blah, 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 for an experiment, blah, blah, blah. He later expounded into his book, Earth Not a Globe, blah, 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 who knows? William Carpenter against the intentions of successful pseudoscience in public debates with leading scientists such as Alfred Russel Wallace. So, that was, Wiki, and this, their own page. What is it? It's the Flat Earth Society. Why isn't it the Flat Earth Research Society? Of course, it is the Flat Earth Society. So who knew that they have this Bosch society, just like the Society of Jesus? That is actually cooking out. It's cooking up, right? It's for a particular purpose or activity. So what are they doing? Oh, who knows? They're doing something. But who knows? They're just, you say, oh, they're just out there believing nonsense and bosh, bosh, bosh. Well, no, who knew that they're actually pushing something, cooking something? Because they're actually bashing you with imagery, just things that sometimes are, jokes, but sometimes not, and sometimes serious. And they're using the media relentlessly to smash you against even believing outside of the box, but you're relentlessly told to believe outside of the box and all this stuff, and this, but somehow you're not supposed to question certain things, and but don't trust your eyes, and this, no, just trust our models and our imagery and our sources, and this and that. It's just amazing, right? Because in New York, following his death, founded the Universal Synthetic Society. These societies were based on interpretations of Bedford-level experiment. These societies placed more emphasis on biblical arguments for flat Earth theory than the modern Flat Earth Society, but also provided scientific arguments as well. 1956, this founded International Flat Earth Society. The Flat Earth Society gained publicity in 1964 following the beginning of the manned space flight and articles about Shenton in the New York Times. Right, so in 1960s, right? The liberation and all this, trips to the moon and all this. So who knew that they had to have, a critique of it all, so that they could smash it and therefore look to appear to be the authority, because there's all these other absurdities that come out and somehow they're laughable, and you're, of course. So you're just relentlessly creating things around you to prove yourself right in your self-fulfilling prophecy that you're going to blast your way through the sun. Amazing. Oh wow, it's just planned out for you, just mass superimpose and just added and taken away from you. And you're just out there smashing. Who knew? Because who gives a bash, right? it's flat or it's a ball. No. Wow, it's Earth. Who knew? What and what happens in Earth life? Wow. Why are you always relentlessly and fantasizing about blasting through the sun or going to some posh place or blast it? No, escapism. All of it. All of it. All of it. And look, image worship, even this, you've created some idol, some false idol of what life is, and you call it this, and this is how it all works, and this, wow, no. Do you see day in, day out? Do you see the moon mark at the night and the sun mark at the day? Whoa, amazing. But no, to you it's just this now. Whoa, just mashed. Right? Just out there fighting, debating, all this, just constantly getting, just boasting. It's like, wow, we're right. And so we have science behind us and all this bad. Ah. Who knew that's exactly what the supposed globe people say? So good luck. It's a battle, right? You're setting up the battle, right? That you couldn't wait to just tie to biblical arguments, right? And who knew it was just all planned to set up those who believe, right, against those who supposedly say they're the progress in the future and the science and all this bash, right? But no, who knew it was just self-fulfilled because you can't wait to just thieve life so you can just have the bash dream come true of blasting through the sun. Amazing. All because you believe the cooked up story, right? That was told, and told again, right? Rewritten because all the other past were murdered. And somehow they were just so horrible and they're just sacrificed in each other. They were just relentless savages and this and that and this. And they just couldn't wait to kick each other in the face and abort their babies and this. They couldn't wait. They were just horrible. They were just so, they needed to just know the way, right? That's why they had to be murdered. They needed to be put down, apparently, because the soldiers of God, right? The SEALs, the Navy SEALs, right? Oh, what a shame. What shame. The Marines. Because who knew that then, back then, it was truly, yeah, to kill all the followers of Christ and create some bad society of, oh, a follower of Jesus. Wow. So name only. That's what remaineth of the prophet. Some bash counterfeit called Society of Jesus. That then was used against you to see to prove yourself right that religion is wrong. Be like, see, look what all that they did. They cooked up and killed everyone and this and oh, now just gave themselves the power and authority to rewrite what you call life. And who knew that they were on the cutting edge of science, right? They were there all the way. They have a telescope called Lucifer, right? The Vatican does. And wow, the Jesuits are just relentlessly staring at the lights in the sky. Who knew that they're using all this apparent knowledge, right, of timekeeping and Bosch pattern, predicting and this and formulas, blah blah blah, to use against you? Because they're in name only, followers of Jesus. No, they're just called the Jesuit, right? The side of Jesus. Wow. For if you answer the word of God in it, in its wisdom, right? This embodies nothing of it. They just went out to conquer and just apparently spread it, but no, they were out there doing something. And writing it and just destroying any evidence. Also, things like this could pop up and all of a sudden it's new to you. Whoa, how stupid could people be? Whoa. And it's just laughable and this, but somehow, even 500 years ago, this was apparent, science. It's a science that everyone just bashed, but somehow Just like the calendar, it was just shapeshifted on you, and you're just like, okay, let's do it. Add and subtract, and now shapeshifted, and let's go. Right? But you're like, no, that's not. It's just timeless, seamless, and somehow we're fine. We're fine. We know exactly when this was, and this, and blah, 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 all the years, and blah, dot, 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 dot. No, nothing. Lost. Lost. And then you cry, and it surprises you why you're bashed, unfulfilled, looking for attention, looking for appreciation, looking for unconditional love out there, or in someone else, or have your children now be your love, and not, wow, bashed. Because you're void of love. You do not accept it, let alone receive the unconditional love of the Father. No, for you're too proud. You're too proud, and you're too zealous to go out and ambitiously create some bash life for yourself, where you recognize you have some bash boasts of respect, and bash this, and bash sense of superiority, and self betterment, and all these things that just keep you in a bash pattern of planned events that you can predict, and it's nice because it's somehow chronological and you can have it all organized. And you call that, the path to success, because life is just somehow the pathways of Bash Hamburger talking into itself, but who knows, it's just amazing, and all these Bash names, and, spreadsheets will just tell you, and just programs, and just memorize relentlessly this, and then spit it up for a test, and then Bash and go out and be somebody. Amazing! Oh, well, they're just like, no, but you're not actually anything, because you're just some nothing from something that was nothing, but then it just bashed together and just gave you some Bash hope. Something. Bash hope of escaping. So who knew that the point of life was to recognize the bash that you are, that you could escape where you came from. That's the point of life, everyone. To come to the recognition and resolve, and through science and fact and all this bash, to come to realize that it was all nothing, and the bash nothing, and it meant nothing, and therefore you must leave to just go find some purpose and find your galaxy buddies finally. Wow, what a shame. Void. Return to the Father, abandon the ways of the world that truly defile and cooked up your spirit. But you have the lifeline. Well, you are the lifeline. Do you see the true promise? Do you listen and answer the call of the Father, or do you just boast in your bash, swine, filth? In your bloodbath of just shanks to relentless abdomen, and your juggler, you're doing it to yourself. Why? Also, you can have a lovely story to entertain your friends with. And I have so many experiences to tell you about, but zero wisdom, because it will not work for you. But everybody has their own lives. You just have to find out your own truth and your own lessons about bash. So that's why go out and fail relentlessly, so you can rise like the phoenix and bash, boast in yourself and your self-development and your growth and your responsibility and this and that and this and that. Become somebody. Yes. No. For ultimately, what do you worship? Every man worships. So, do you humble yourself and admit you're wrong, or just continue smashing and suffering and dying? Wow, who knew? Right? And all while you can boast and call the people like the fools and the idiots, all the while you're the bash, half ape, troll, bash ape that thinks and boasts and just, the Groundhog Day that you truly live. Somehow that's the virtue of how amazing you are, because you're able to predict it so well, and you're self-fulfilling prophecy. But somehow you're just here to get better every day, and as long as you just do good to others and just bless your own day and bless yourself, and then, wow, it's all good. Wow. We'll end it there.